Alrighty, so today I want to talk about the 2024 Worldwide Download Celebration. Now, usually with these, when I open a video like that, it tends to be predictions, it tends to be news, but in this one, I want to sort of go through the aspects of it, go over the good, go over the bad, and go over the ugly. Now, for the ugly, just a spoiler alert, it's going to be one thing, and no, it is not the content. I will talk about the content. It was not good, but I will be talking about that, right? So what I did was I pulled up just about everything that I thought of that was worthy of note, and then I have a tweet at the very end to talk about a specific aspect of the Worldwide Download Celebration that is easy to overlook because they don't obviously post this in the news, but you guys will see what I mean when we get there. So make sure you stay for the entire video and you go ahead and listen to me and you give me some thoughts down in the comment section below of what you guys thought of this specific celebration. So without further ado, I wrote down some notes. This is not a script, but we're going to go category via category, and then I'll give kind of a basis at the end to say, was it good, was it bad, or was it ugly? So the first thing, the most important thing of any Dokkan celebration, in my opinion, is obviously the headlining characters. Are these characters that we want to summon for? Are these characters that pertain moments that we enjoy? Are these characters that we are going to have a fun time using? Are these our favorite individuals from the series? Are these moments that we'd like to see recreated? All important things, and this is what brings the people back, right? When you have a celebration, if it were to be headlined with Bio Broly, not as many people are going to come back. But the fact that it's the legendary Super Saiyan Broly from movie 8, that's a thing that's going to be bringing people in because people love Broly. Broly is a big dog, right? Like, this is a money-making machine, Mr. Burori, right? Like, we have to keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and get started with the characters. Now, the first unit that I have pulled up is the Super Saiyan Trio. Now, I'm not going to be individually breaking down like the kits and every mechanic, more of just a general thought of the character. I think that they absolutely crushed this release. Thinking about like Goten, Trunks, and Goku, this is not like the big draw of the Broly movie, right? But what they did to sort of compensate for that was give the awesome ending, the uppercut, to a standby mechanic, and they also made this character arguably the best in the game when they came out. I'm still a Beast Gohan truther, so I'm not going to really weigh in too much on that, but what I will say is this is a very fun character, and it is also a character that was in contention for the best unit in the game when they came out. They're not that old, so this conversation is still ongoing. I think that this was a slam dunk release, right? And the same thing could be said about Broly, right? An absolute slam dunk. This character has so many good things going for him, the way that you have versatility with the way that you can put him in, you could transform him right away. You know, we saw it right away like this, and like, I remember my heart just like it sank to my stomach, right? When I saw unable to attack, I'm like, please, like, don't make me wait till turn 4, right? Like, don't make this character unable to attack until turn 4, and you can transform right away. So it wasn't a big deal, but if you want to preserve the damage reduction, you are good and you can do that. And this was a phenomenal character, an amazing release. Like, this guy, his team to me is probably my favorite team to run. On JP, I don't have the Int Broly, and then go figure on Global, I don't have this Broly. So it does make things a little bit tricky, but with that being said, still a very fun character. Running the Movie Bosses team, running the Uncontrollable Power team, just a really, really fun time. So I think that they nailed this Broly and really kind of brought some life to the extreme teams, right? Because usually that is something that these celebrations tend to not do. And I think that this celebration did do a good job of that. So next up on our list, we have Gohan, another contender for the best unit in the game. A really fun standby, new mechanics with collecting Dragon Balls, offensive machine, defensive machine, just standalone Gohan. I'm a real big fan of that. No funky business with like Goten, Trunks, Videl, where it's going to like, restrict the links, restrict the categories. They're just like, here's Gohan, here you guys go. And he is very good. Again, don't want to spend too long on this, otherwise this video will be 45 minutes. Moving on, we have Int Broly down here, the super warrior who destroys all. This guy gives the defensive utility that the Movie Bosses team doesn't really have, but he is very not restricted, but you really want to run him next to Uncontrollable Power characters, which can just kind of lead you to running a full Broly team and nothing else. But you could also put like Cell Max on the Movie Bosses team or something like that, and it'll work out just fine. So this Int Broly, phenomenal character. I say phenomenal a lot, but a really well done release. And overall, in my opinion, they went 4 for 4 with the major releases. And just some quick notes, like I said, they gave us some new best unit contenders. All of the characters were extremely well designed. The teams that they needed to help got help, right? Like the Broly team really needed it, and now you can run a badass all Broly team that is a contender for one of the better teams in the game. And villain teams look better because of these, right? This is a good look for those of you who want the villain teams to look a little bit better. This celebration did help with that. So that's the first category. The 4 new LRs, the most important part of the celebration, aside from some other little things. But in my opinion, this is the biggest thing. What is bringing people back? Not the fights, the characters. And in my opinion, they nailed these characters. So that is the first section. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section, and that is going to be the EZAs. All right, so moving on to the EZAs of this specific celebration. We started off with a decent little bang here in the countdown celebration, and that brought us our boy STR Turles. Now, I really like this character, but the one thing that's kind of an L for this character, unfortunately, just a minor nitpick, like a lot of things going on here, but the big issue for this guy is a lack of uncontrollable power, and for characters like Bio Broly and stuff like that, and Int Broly, it is very helpful. Now, on the movie bosses team, can you run this guy? The answer is a resounding yes, but I just don't see how he's going to be making the cut over characters like Bio Broly, like AGL Full Power Broly, like the Tech Broly EZA, right? But all in all, this is a solid character. Terrifying Conquerors, this is like the biggest help to like AGL Frieza that he could have asked for, specifically because like really, like when it comes to the Bio Broly, like for the Broly movie, Terrifying Conquerors is not really him and Paragus' MO, right? It's more of revenge against Prince Vegeta, more like that's basically the whole thing, right? It's all just revenge, right? And then Broly goes out of control, hence the uncontrollable power, blows up the Shimoyan's planet, all that fun stuff. But like I said, terrifying, conquering like planets and doing what Frieza does, that's not his MO, right? So that is what makes this Turles a little bit awkward, more of a terrifying conqueror, more of a space traveling warrior character, more of the planetary destruction. But with the movie bosses team, you can run him. However, uncontrollable power is going to help out Broly a lot more, the Int Broly. So that is where things get interesting. So overall with the EZAs, I'm going to specifically be talking about all of these. I'm going to say good. Now, with this one, ladies and gentlemen, Int Broly. This is where things got a little bit nerve-wracking. We'll talk about this quick. He was not as good as he should have been. Very disappointing, as this is an EZA a lot of people were looking forward to. But at least if we want to have a consolation prize, there are plenty of good Legendary Super Saiyan Brolys now. Some being the brand new units, some being other EZAs. So keep that in mind. This guy just wasn't enough, very restricted to having certain types of enemies, and in this day and age, this is really not going to work. So this Int Broly, thumbs down. This was a bad EZA. Moving along, we have the Tech Broly EZA. Now, when I wrote down my notes for this, Tech Broly might be the most fun I've had using an LR EZA that is not like an anniversary LR EZA, right? It's a little bit different with like 6th anniversary UI Goku, 5th anniversary Vegito Blue, Gogeta Blue, Evolution Blue Vegeta. That's a different standard, right? Those are like damn near like new summonable level characters, right? Like it's a little bit different. But this Broly, seeing some of the attack stats that you can get this guy up to, the highest I've seen personally on my account with no attack up items or anything like that is 84 million. And that is just turn 4, swipe up on that bad boy active skill, and you are good to go. You are doing crazy amounts of damage. Overall, I really like this EZA, and he is a ton of fun to use. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Now, moving along to the next big major EZA. The new best TUR EZA in the game, Trunks and Goten with the Unit Super Krillin. Phenomenal character, right? They gave out exclusive skill orbs for that, more on that later. Just a very, very fun character. A turn 3 guaranteed dodge active skill that you can put in the back pocket and use when you need it. Overall, I really, really like this EZA, so I'm going to give this one a big, 2 big thumbs up. They nailed this one about as well as they could, so Trunks and Goten, very good. Let's move on. Next, we have the Super EZA for STR Broly. This is a sport unit, and he's ripping off like 20 million attack stats, doing 3 or 4 supers, dodging, critting. This guy is so much fun to use, and having an AoE, it's just a lot of fun, right? So, not going to talk about him too much, but this guy, he came out yesterday. I'm having a ton of fun with this character. Technically came out today when I'm recording this, but this guy, he's amazing, right? Like for a Super EZA, They knocked it out of the park, and we are just going to leave it at that. Again, a big thumbs up for this EZA. So, one thing that I need to also say is Imp Broly sticks out like a sore thumb with how bad that EZA was. And the teams that these characters were on, these EZAs complemented those teams perfectly. They filled the role that they needed to fill, and they did a great job of that. So, that Broly's EZA, very good. Free-to-play stuff, LR Bio Broly, I'm going to headline this with. This one isn't necessarily in order. This is a shoe-in on teams that this guy is on. With uncontrollable power, this guy's crazy. It's a free-to-play Prime Battle LR that they dropped in the middle of a major celebration, and on top of that, he already EZAs and is cracked. Like, that's awesome. So, this, I have to give them a thumbs up for this, right? This was a really good addition to the celebration, right? Was it perfect? No. Was it really good with this aspect of it? Yes, because now we have another character. For those of you who might not have pulled Imp Broly, for those of you who might not have pulled Tech Broly, this is a guy that can go on both of their teams and work just fine. So that is one thing I want to notice. This Bio Broly, very, very good. The Tech Bio Broly EZA, he's good too. Just kind of fun for the fact that he is just like, you know, a TUR that came out in 2017, and now he's good, right? We'll keep that one quick. Trunks, again, has a taunt, does all kinds of fun stuff. This is a really long passive for a free-to-play unit. He's very well done. We'll move on. Paragus fulfills his role perfectly. You're bringing him in to debuff Broly in certain events. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And overall, I just really like this character. Videl, nothing burger, free-to-play EZA, not really much going on here. But she does have some dodge chance, and she can potentially look good. So overall, I think the free-to-play units they did a good job with, and I don't really have much to complain about. So 11 minutes in, I have not been that negative, but unfortunately, I think the tone is going to change a little bit, right? So overall, the units in the celebration were very good. I think they put time into designing the kits. I think they did a really good job. There were some really things that were well done. There was a bit of a miss on one of the EZAs, but okay, this happens, right? It's not always going to be black and white. It's not always going to be perfect, but I think when it comes to just well-rounding all of the characters out, I think they did a good job with this celebration for that aspect. But now, unfortunately, I do have to shift the tone a bit and get a bit more negative, which I don't like doing on this channel. I like promoting the positive vibes, right? Having a good time, helping everybody out, but unfortunately, in this part, I do have to get a bit more negative. Now, the content, right? I'm not going to make this a 45-minute rant. But what I think the biggest issue to me for the content, aside from it just not being difficult, is the lack of replayability. Shout out to my boy Static. The lack of replayability here is just really disappointing, because a lot of these fights we're not going to be able to go back and play and really give units a test. So let's get started with the first one, and that is going to be the Memorable Battles Movie Edition. Now, with the Memorable Battles Movie Edition, I don't know why I can't talk, we've got all of these different fights that are one phase, and I'm not going to go into each fight and break down the stats or anything like that, because this will be way too long of a video. But, if I asked you right now, do you remember the Super Saiyan Goku fight from the Memorable Battles Movie Edition? Are you going to be able to tell me what was in that fight? If I tell you what happens in the Cooler fight, you'd be like, I don't know, I just used superheroes and beat it, right? What about Goku and Vegeta? I don't know. Use superheroes and beat it, right? Now, the superheroes and beat it thing, that's a whole different subject, right? But you don't really remember any of these fights until you get to, like, this one, right? The fight versus Gohan, I actually really like the way that fight is designed, because Beast Gohan can take 400k from a super right away. Usually, fights do not have that, and I think that's really cool. And they were experimenting with things. They were using gimmicks. I believe it's this legendary Super Saiyan Broly. No, but like disabling attack and defense reduction. It's locking. They have AoEs, right? Like, there is some potential with these fights, but overall, I just don't think they hit hard enough. Really, it's just this Gohan fight that I thought they did a good job with making it challenging. But to say that that fight is like going to be a good bar for how units are, I don't think so, because most characters are not just straight out of the box turn one going to be insane. And that fight is like the antithesis of that, right? Like, it is literally just like, you need characters that are going to be guaranteed dodging turn one. You need characters that are going to be able to eat that super turn one. And it makes for an opening rotation simulator. And that is the same issue that the Red Zone Zamasu fight had, where if your opening rotations were bad, you probably just lost the fight. And that is not really the most fun thing in the world. Especially, the good thing about these is there's unlimited attempts, but it's not the case for all of these. And that is just going to be a bit of an issue, right? So I think that the content, like the overall level of memorability of these fights, go figure, that memorable battles that I am not going to remember other than this Gohan fight, right? So Again, not hard enough is going to be the verdict here, but memorable battles, I don't think they did the best job with this, but we're about to get into the part that disappointed me the most, and that's the Blue Zone, the Supreme Magnificent Battle. These have been their attempts at the hardest fights in the game, dating back to the 9th anniversary. This is where we call them Blue Zone, right? But Supreme Magnificent Battle, Gogeta. Supreme Magnificent Battle, Goku and Frieza. Supreme Magnificent Battle, there's none. There's not a memorable fight in this instance, right? Is a category mission going to make it hard? Sure. That's not what's in here, right? We're talking about the overall quality of the fight. Is the superheroes team tested? No. Is the trios team tested? No. Is Broly's team tested? No. Is Tech Broly or Int Broly's team tested? No. Is the Majin Power team tested? Yeah, kinda. You know what I mean? Is Planetary Destruction tested? No. Is Uncontrollable Power tested? No. All of these amazing categories, Power of Wishes, like I said, all of the major release teams right now, Universe 7 not being tested. And that is a big problem with these fights because we have, especially if you're on global, right? This is something I wrote down. I play JP, and this is not an elitism complex. This is nothing like that. JP has the Goku and Frieza fight. And with the Goku and Frieza fight, you're going to be able to go back and play that and be challenged because of the way that that event works. A 5 million super attack there are basically, it's a very small amount of characters that can deal with that. But when we come to this fight right here, there's a lot of characters that can just straight up dominate this, that can just deal with it. And there's not this sense of like a challenge and like fulfillment and like feeling rewarded and like really accomplished when you get through this. And I think that that's a big problem. That we just did not have a fight that really kind of tested things. Now, one thing I will say that's positive about this Blue Zone or Magnificent Battle in specific is they tried things with the bosses, and I can appreciate that, right? We had phases with multiple enemies, like 3 to 4 enemies, all having little different gimmicks. Goten and Trunks, they were like, Goten and Trunks got specific buffs. With Goten being alive, Trunks got a certain buff. With Trunks being alive, Goten got a certain buff, and then that would go away. When one of them was taken out, the bosses would crit. Goten and Trunks disabled units that could orb change, right? Like that ability no longer worked. Damage reduction was taken away. Like if I didn't say it already, the bosses can do crits. There's a lot of things that we could say looked good in this specific fight, in these fights. But the problem is the numbers were not tuned. If we look at the Trunks and Goten fight in specific, I'm talking a lot about this one because I care. What is this? Do you guys see a problem with this? 750,000. Let's pull up another event really quickly. Let's go to the Red Zone Movie Edition, and most of you already know where I'm going with this. But let's go to the Red Zone Movie Edition, and let's go look at Broly. Broly, turn 3, 800,000, and right here, 1.2 million. This fight debuted in February of 2022. This fight came out yesterday. You notice anything here? That fight is infinitely harder than this. 980,000, 1.2 million in the final stage of the worldwide download celebration. Supreme Magnificent Battle, supposed to be the headliner, the marquee fight of the celebration. Like what you're going to like the fight that hopefully we can leave and be challenged with these characters that we summoned for and spent, you know, some of us spent 2,500 stones to get to pity, be able to use and test them in different fights. And then we have a fight that's doing 1.2 million damage in the final phase that's supposed to be like the hardest fight of the celebration. Like that's a joke. That is not good. That is poor game design. Now, I'm not going to lose my mind over here, but it is frustrating, right? Because if you're someone who's summoned for these characters and you're like, oh boy, I can't wait to use my new Broly team. I really want to see if there's some fights that are going to test it. And then you dominate this fight and then you go, oh wow, this Broly team is really good. And then you find out this is a 2022 level fight that just has like some funky little gimmicks, right? Some bombs on the key orbs that take away your HP that you can just heal off on the next turn. It's frustrating, right? Because I held off. I was optimistic. I said that during the whole celebration. I'm going to be carefully optimistic. And I'm hoping that they're going to get this right. And for the hard fights, hopefully Part 3 delivers. And not only did Part 3 not deliver, it was a punch in the gut, right? it was one of those things where it's just like, oh my god, like we're really gonna have to wait till the anniversary for a new hard fight. Now, like I said, I'm on JP. I can play Goku and Frieza, but 99.9999% of my audience plays global, right? And those are people that cannot play the Goku and Frieza fight, and they're just stuck doing some of these old fights that the Broly team has no issues with. There's no sense of reward, like no sense of fulfillment, no sense of reward from beating these. You're just like, oh yeah, this team is way too good for this stage. I can't really play the game the way I want to because my units don't have any trouble. So, a bit of a tangent there. But again, they tried to do unique things and it just did not work. So the Blue Zone, this is a massive L. I was not a fan of this. And again, I like to be positive. I like to bring optimism and stuff like that for the celebration, but this is unacceptable. The 10th anniversary, I think they will, but they have to do better than this for the hard fights. They absolutely have to. Because if I'm going to summon for these new characters, I'm going to put my money into the game and summon for units and stuff like that. If you're going to put your money into the game, or you're going to save and not summon for 8 months to summon for these characters, and then you don't have a place to properly use them, I'm not a fan of that. So there we go. We're done with the difficult content other than the Tremble with Fear event. This was fun because of like missions that you could do. It was kind of cool to use Paragus at stage 1 and really debuff Broly or make him, the difficulty was up to you. I like that freedom of choice, but nothing too much that we need to talk about. It was overall fun, but not too difficult. I'm not going to go into the same tirade that I did about the Blue Zone, but let's move on. So the good stuff, right? There was good stuff with this content, and I'm not going to act like there was literally none. The Shimoyans event, despite being boring, it's not really content, but it does give us a lot of stones, right? 3 stones every day, then 4 stones every day, then 5 stones every day. Thank you, Amatsu, for the stones. More on that later. I do appreciate that, but there's a little catch to that. We'll get into it in a little bit. EX skill orbs for the uncontrollable power. Again, not really content, but ways to buff your characters. Cool. Not much we need to talk about there. A good event. Link levels, again, not much to talk about here. Just a lot of different things that you could do for your movie bosses, for your movie heroes, and you can just link level the new characters that you pulled. Boom, it's good, thumbs up, moving on. Now, story event, more characters, EX orbs, all fun stuff. Let's not talk about that anymore. And this is probably my favorite event of the whole thing. This Videl event is cracked. I think in total we got 50 stones from it. We got all types of EX skill orbs for really good characters that were really quality skill orbs, very similar to what the Pan Water Bottle event was during the 9th anniversary. But on top of that, the link level rate on this thing was ba-boom, right? This is like a cheat code for link leveling. So I really like this event. It's also giving stones. So is it content? Not really. Is it a new event that's really good? Yes. Last but not least, we have the nuking event. To me, this is just a nothing burger. You get like 9 stones and you get some wallpapers. Like, cool. Thumbs up. Moving on. Now, the last part of this video, before we get going here, I'll show some comments from the YouTube post that I did whenever it's been up for a little bit. I posted like an hour ago, so we'll show that a little bit before we go. But thank you to Luca Dokkan for putting this out, as also as Misakak1. Sorry if I said that wrong. Stones. Not good. Here we have the stones of the last 5 basically major celebrations, and we can see an alarming gap of stones between the minimum and the maximum of worldwide download 2 years ago, two years ago, and the worldwide download celebrations for the stones that we had this year. You can see that the minimum and maximum is based on the login bonuses and stuff like that. If you got like the max login bonus every day, keep that in mind with like top grossing and stuff like that. There are going to be multiple factors that go into this, but the minimum amount of dragon stones that you could get from the celebration was 1,129 compared to the 1,361 and the 1,186 stones that we got during the last couple worldwide download celebrations. Now, why is this alarming? This is alarming because not only did they add pity during this celebration, they also added, or not that, it's mainly just the pity, right? But it's also showing a negative trend where we're starting to get these celebrations that are just starting to give us like just less and less stones. Now, the 9th anniversary, I will say the max stones for the 9th anniversary, thank you, 1444, like at least that is there, but it's not enough, right? Losing stones like this, I don't like it, because if you got the maximum amount of stones during the celebration and you had none saved up, you weren't even close to pity. Unless you have characters that are rainbowed and you're doing coins like that, you're getting extra coins per multi that you're doing, you were not even close, not even halfway to pity. Now, pity is not a system designed to reward free-to-play players. But the fact that they gave out half, they're saying you need to buy over 1,000 stones if you want to hit this pity. I think that's not good. Again, pity to me really isn't a big deal. It's good that they have it, and it was nice. I was able to purchase a copy of the trio on my JP account, but it's like, you know, I bought dragon stones, right? And most people, I would recommend that you do not do that. So not good, boys. A lot of good things for the celebration, but now that we've done that, and before I let you go, we have ratings. Now, what I did was I broke down every system that we had on a scale from 10, and there were 4 aspects of the celebration I looked at. I rated them out of 10. The units, the EZAs, the free-to-play characters, and the content. The units, I gave a total of 9 out of 10. I think the 4 new characters and the banner units are kind of just whatever. But the units, I gave a 9 out of 10. All very well designed, not perfect, but really good. A lot of best units in the game, contenders, and stuff like that. I really liked it. The EZAs, I honestly could have given a 10 out of 10 if had it not been for Int Broly, but I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. 1, because Int Broly was bad, and 2, because there was a lack of sub EZAs. So far, that gives us a total of 17 out of 20. The free-to-play characters, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10, because the 3, like, TURs were whatever, but Bio Broly was so damn good that I felt that it deserved a good score. So I gave him a 7.5 out of 10, giving us a total of 24.5 out of 30. So far, it's pretty good. The content, I'm giving a 3 out of 10. The content was abysmal. It was miserable, and not miserable, but just not memorable at all, and I'm just really disappointed with it, right? Is it nice to easily clear things and make you feel like a badass when you're doing it? Yes, but it's not enough. So in total, this celebration for me gets a total of 27.5 out of 40. Not a great score. It's above average. It's over 50%, right? But not good enough for worldwide. When we're talking worldwide, I want to have a rating of like 35 out of 40. We're talking 30 plus out of 40, and 27.5 is just not good enough. So there you go. Again, I like to be more positive on this channel, but I did get a little bit angry in this video. Not at anybody in specific, but I think we just have to do better. Dokkan players are a fun bunch. I think that they deserve, we as a community deserve to, you know, have more fights that are like fun to do, more fights that we're going to enjoy playing, and it's not just like, I don't like just logging in the game, getting my stones from dailies and logging off. I want to be able to stay on the game and enjoy it, because I love this game, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. So let me know what you think down below in the comment section, and if you did enjoy today's video and me getting a little bit tilted, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you are new. 10K, boys, and I really hope that you will be there when that happens. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.